Give me some insight into how you process information.
The press acts like information's a dirty word. Everyone has access to the information, we just know how to analyze it better.
Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Horace Bots, and if I'm not mistaken, I am going to post this on LinkedIn. So for all of my LinkedIn colleagues, welcome. I just want to have a conversation. Well, in all honesty, this is a continuation of a conversation that I was having with a close friend of mine. This friend of mine does big things, to say it lightly. His friend does marketing for Spotify and Meta and Apple. So clearly they're doing something right. And we were having a conversation. The conversation went something along the lines of this. I was extremely excited about the possibility of AI and like the things that are coming down the pipeline. And I kept saying that by the year 2030, which this date is not arbitrary. This date was given to me from one of my professors. I recently audited a leadership in AI class. Shout out NYU Stern, Professor Anat Lecter. If I could post your deck here, I would make all the people believers. But since it's confidential and I am grateful to have access to it, I will not. I digress. The conversation is by 2030, AI will be as good as any human at anything. It's 2026. We're on the clock. And my understanding was, okay, well, if we're on the clock, like, we need to be preparing for what could potentially be the employee-less economy. And this friend of mine looked at me like I was absolutely off my rocker. And I was like, you've got to see the tea leaves. And they said, you don't have the necessary empirical evidence. And I was like, the leading AI experts are clearly stating that by the year 2030, and that's an exaggeration, it could be shorter, AI is going to be as good as any human at anything. And if that's the case, in my head it's a simple calculus, meaning that I am a huge user fan, proponent of Codex, of Claude AI, of Perplexity, of every large language model, of Gemini, of the possibility of what can be accomplished with said technologies. Which then means when I'm using Claude and I use Fable for whatever reason and decimate my tokens, I realize, this is a simple calculus based on the tasking that I'm providing Claude to do. It is a correlation between how many tokens will be necessary for said task. The tokenization of the economy. Then meaning, as an employer, if I were an employer to then have or hire AI agents, replacing employees comes down to a collection of how many tokens will it take to replace said employee. It's easy math in my head. But I digress. My close friend of mine looked at me and was like, I thought I was an AI advocate, but you sir, you take the cake. And I said, no. It's not like that. But clearly I didn't have the empirical evidence. So this video is for you. The empirical evidence is, one, the information's out there. We just need to be more observant. And by that, I mean, look at the hyperscalers, the companies, look at the capital expenditure in AI and cross-reference that with the layoffs. And then, yes, some companies are forthcoming and actually articulating that these layoffs are in coordination with the AI leverage. And some companies are trying to kind of sweep it under the rug. But we're coming to facts here. So don't mind me, I don't want to misquote anything. So I got a couple of notes that I've taken. In regards to the capital expenditure across Salesforce, Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, Meta, and Oracle, $725 billion has been spent in capital expenditure in the investment in AI. That's a 77% increase year over date over 2025. 77% increase. And in that same amount of time, 92,000 jobs have been removed. So let's kind of get into it company by company. And let's get into a quote by which was stated in regards to this, dare I say, transaction. For Amazon, $220 billion, 30,000 layoffs. And the quote from the CEO is, "We anticipate this will decrease our overall corporate workforce as we achieve efficiency improvements throughout extensive AI utilization." He's telling you exactly what's happening. Tokens for people. Oracle, $56 billion. 101% of 2025 revenue. And they have 21,000 layoffs. And I quote from the 10K. So if you don't believe me, please feel free to go and pull up the 10K and just search the 10K for the notes section. And this is the quote. "The adaptation and deployment of AI technologies across our operations have resulted and may continue to result in reductions in our workforce, replaced by tokens." Now we'll keep going a little bit, and for the most part, this is the final direct quote in terms of another company that is taking AI and replacing their employees with AI. Salesforce, $4 billion, 5,200 layoffs. And I quote from the CEO, "I was able to rebalance my headcount on my support. I reduced it from 9,000 heads to about 5,000 because I needed fewer heads." Tokens. All about the tokens. Mind you, for the LinkedIn audience, I am going to post, and I'll do this on YouTube as well. I'm going to post my research in terms of the correlation between CapEx and the layoffs, as well as a bit more research that I did in terms of the economy-less potential. As we move into this employee-less society, or what they are also calling, there's a few names for what's happening. The technological unemployment, the laborless economy, a world without work, it's kind of catchy, and AGI-driven end of human employment. As we're marching towards this efficiency, because if you're looking at it from a business standpoint, if you could take technology and optimize in a way that allows you to run 24/7 with no PTO, with no days off, with no maternity or paternity leave, if you're a business owner, most likely you're going to look towards whatever kind of technology advancement that lets you do that. The problem is, and this is like similar to the Henry Ford problem, the goal was always to pay your employees enough so that they can spend their money full circle. What happens to the economy if there is no capacity to spend? If no one has jobs, how can said individual procure anything? And that means the advancements that you're getting from said technologies to create these services and products cannot be procured from said people that you're creating these services and products for. Which brings us to a couple other factors. One being the idea that Sam Altman has presented, and that's the distribution of wealth from AI productivity gains, the Universal Wealth Fund, and there's policy around that currently. Another is Elon's idea of universal high income. And I'm going to reference and put the documentation. So if you don't take my word for it, I don't want to be one of those people that's like, oh, just listen to me. No, don't listen to me. I want you to hear what I'm saying and say, I don't believe you. And then go and look at all the associated documentation and then fact check said sourced documentation so that you can see and ascertain for yourself. It's important that we become a generation of doing your own due diligence and not just listening, nodding, and clicking the like button. But also, while we're at the like button, if you want to hear more of this type of content, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I mean, come on. I had to throw it in there. I had to. It's a little YouTube magic. Goodness gracious. But I digress. The problem and the proposed policies when it comes to trying to resolve the issue of stimulating an economy with no employees, I guess we'll see. I mean, Elon's idea of a world after work, like it becomes optional, I think it would be incredible. Incredible for the point of then individuals can find out exactly who they are outside of what they do. A lot of people attribute the value of who they are with what capability that they have in their profession. And that's not necessarily who you are. That's not necessarily what your value is. That's just what you can contribute from an experience standpoint to society. But if those services are no longer needed, then who are you? It's a fantastic question to ask yourself. It's kind of the question that I've been asking myself lately. Just, who do I want to be? How do I want to help? How do I want to pour into my friends, my family, my associates, my colleagues? What kind of influence do I want to partake? How do I want to experience life? What reality do I want to exist in? I know these are a ton of questions that have nothing to do with AI, but have everything to do with AI. I hope you enjoyed this little brain dump, this little conversation, this little diatribe of mine, and that you share this and like it and do all the stuff so that momentum can be generated and more discussions can be had. I hope you have a fantastic day. If you're looking at this while you're at work and you have your headphones on, I salute you. If you're watching this before you go to bed, having a little LinkedIn nightcap, scrolling, you're probably looking for employment. That's another conversation that we need to have, a deep one, especially when it comes to understanding the economy and the scarcity of products and pricing. I digress. It's been a pleasure spending time with you. Take care of yourself.